Hello everyone! Welcome back to If My Heart Had Wings, episode 27. So, yep, I'm going to resume this title after taking a pause from it since my second set of Let's Play videos. And that's at least a year ago. So the reason I'm continuing this is because this is kind of the cornerstone for most of the titles I play on this channel. Notably, Pulltop's own Cocoro Function and Pure Sun Garden, and my third set, and LoveKami Original, and Adventure of a Lifetime, aka Sword to Omega Furikanta for my fourth set. And I feel that it makes sense that most of these titles are based on this one. If My Heart Had Wings, aka Ko no Daozora ni翼をひろげて. And it's because this is the most popular title from Pulltop, and I'm told that this is probably one of the first titles to be localized in English by our somewhat friends boy novel. So I also noticed that I'm only about halfway through the common route, and that's how far the demo version goes for this title. So in a sense, I have quite a bit of ways to go before I reach to my usual stop point. So before I continue and resume, I'm just gonna give a brief summary about what happened for the first 26 episodes. So most of it was based around this girl here, Kotori. So our main character Aoi just moved back to Kazegarura, and it's because he was going to a sports school, but then he sustained injuries during cycling, and he has to transfer to a different school that's not, or doesn't emphasize that much in sports. So he goes to this school, Keifu Academy, and this is more emphasized on science and engineering. But on his way back, he sees this girl, Kotori, over the cliffs, and she's stranded because she's in a wheelchair and the wheelchair has a flat. And even though she's happy that Aoi has come to fix her wheelchair, she gets upset because it turns out he's the new dorm mother for the dorm that she's living in, and it's called the Flying Fish Manor for some reason. And for most of the first 26 episodes, Kotori's been kind of secluded from everyone, especially from Aoi, because she doesn't really like Aoi being her new dorm mother. And also see that Aoi gets to meet up with his old friends again, Ageha, Masasugu, Hotaru, and Tatsuya, or Anchan. And finally we come to Amane. So she's this really smart student at the Keifu Academy, but for some reason she's quite isolated, and it's kind of like how no one can approach her, and she tucks herself away in this big garage working on some project, and for some reason she gets so devoted that she forgets to eat. And for those 26 episodes, we kind of see how all of this comes together. So Maya's working on this glider, and it kind of catches the interest of Kotori and Ageha, and I'm pretty sure the glider's what's gonna keep Kotori in this school. So on last note, the reason Kotori's in this school is because it has wheelchair access. So in a sense, Kotori isn't really interested in science and engineering, and is pretty much forced to be here. And it kind of explains why Kotori was thinking about dropping out of school, because, well, she doesn't really like it, and she feels too isolated and doesn't really get along with anyone else at school. And I think she's she's just kind of upset, kind of jealous that she's in a wheelchair while everyone else isn't. And I don't think we've heard much about Ageha yet, but I think that's all to be reserved in her individual character route, or maybe as we go down from 27 and on. Okay, so right now what's happening is that Kotori's interested, she's excited, she wants to go to the glider or the garage with Amane, work on the glider, but Aoi wants to wait for Ageha to be finished, but she's busy talking with other students in the classroom, and we get a choice to decide whether or not to wait for Ageha to be finished talking to her classmates, or just go ahead and listen to Kotori's like, just go there because eventually Ageha's going to show up in the garage. And this kind of marks the beginning of the decisions, where it'll decide whether or not we'll be on the Kotori route, Ageha route, Amane route, or the Special Twins route, or the bad ending. And I'm going to try to get the bad ending first for this common route run. Okay, so first of all, let's see what happens if I pick the Kotori option. So let's just go ahead and go to the garage with Kotori, and Ageha will eventually show up. So by the way, I'm going to try to follow the same method that I used for Cocoro Function and Adventure of a Lifetime, so I'll show you what happens if I pick the other route after I get through the initial episode run. Okay, so I was like, okay, so let's wait for a little bit. Well, anyways, I'll just hang on for now. Okay, I'm just gonna go already. Kotori said it with a composed face and really did go on ahead. So I wonder if Aoi did wait a little bit or try to wait for Ageha. So it looks like he did. Well, we can't wait for a little while, can we? Well, if you want to do so, then why don't you do it then? Wait, are you really that against going with Ageha? Without realizing, I sound anxious as I ask. So I don't really know why. I'm just wondering why Kotori is a bit anxious or nervous with Ageha. But I did remember from earlier that they had a little argument, and it's because Ageha's pretty upset that Kotori doesn't want to speak up and tries to hide everything under the covers. And then Kotori feels that Ageha's just trying to be too nice to everyone, trying to socialize with everyone, and just being the people pleaser that she hates. I always felt like Kotori had trouble knowing how to be around Ageha. Well, you know, there are always ways to act so tough, but really, you're a bag of nerves. Yeah, I get it. So even Aoi can sense some faults with Kotori. It's like, well, you're not perfect, you know. So she's always puts up a front and is wary of strangers. And this also affects her in that when she came to this school, she never got used to being part of class. It's like, well, you need to be more open, you need to be more accepting, you shouldn't be all upset at everything. And I wonder why they need to argue this much over deciding whether to wait for Ageha or just go right away. Wait, that's not what I'm saying. Wait, stop crying.
泣いてなんて言いません。
Really? Okay, that's good.
葵くん、私のこと泣き虫だと思ってるでしょ。
Maybe? Well, no.
ムカつく。
Okay, so I've annoyed her. Kotori stops moving in her wheelchair, so she tired. So want me to push you, right? Kotori shook her head. No, I can do it myself.
私だって本当はあの子と仲良くしたいわよ。
Oh, okay. So I think Kotori's just afraid. She doesn't really know how to approach, and I think Kotori knows that, well, I'm in a wheelchair, I'm kind of special, and it makes me feel uncomfortable being around with normal people.
でもやり方がわからないんだもん。
And after all these years of absence and negligence, it's really hard to reconnect all these ties and be around with people again.
それに多分私もう嫌われてるだろうし。
And maybe because of that argument previously, Ageha has a really bad image of me. Or Ageha has a really bad image of me. So why do you think that then?
だってひどいこと言ったし、それにいつも態度悪いし。
So if you realize that you have a bad attitude, why don't you do something about it? Well, maybe apologize, or maybe try to talk about your inner thoughts and what's really bothering you.
ねえ、どう思う？やっぱ嫌われてるかな？死んじゃえとか思われちゃってるかな？
I don't think that's the case. No, she doesn't. I simply stated that for the time being.
なんでそう言えるわけ？
Really? Well, you know, I've known her for a long time, so I know that much about her.
そうかしら。
Well, I has some credibility over that statement. Well, she is paranoid. Kotori puts her hand over her chin and starts thinking.
どうすれば仲良くできるんだろう。
Well, for example... So what? So before going to club activities, if she says wait for me, why don't you wait for her then?
だってそれ私に言ったんじゃないもん。
But she was talking to you instead. Well, I'm the one who called out to her, so I was the one who was asking her about this. So shall we go back to the classroom then? So, do you want to go wait for Ageha then?
いや、いい。
I'm okay.
今さら戻るの恥ずかしいもん。
Well, I don't think Ageha knows that Kotori is going to try to go to the garage or the club room without her. So, if Kotori goes back to the classroom, I don't think it's going to be any problem. And I'm pretty sure no one would have realized it. Well, she really did sound embarrassed as she spoke, then moved off in a wheelchair. Sure, I'm worried about the delicate situation between the two of them, but still, there's no need to rush things. Things like this take time. That's true. Friendship is something that grows over time, or slowly. If there's anything I can do to help, then I will. Okay, so they head off to the garage anyways without Ageha. So now in the club room, it's like, how are we going to do the flight training? Well, once all of us second graders had gathered, I asked Amane. Amane has been playing around with a bundle of tangled PC cables, and we can only see her from the other side of the desk. So what is she doing?
飛ぶんだ。
So we just fly. Wait, fly? I imagine it would be something like, well, how about some weight training to build physics or physical strength? Well, I don't think you need physical strength to fly a machine. Well, you do need to pull the controls, push the controls and such, but going to weight training is a little bit of an overkill. But then again, most of the planes that I've seen, they run on fly-by-wire, so in a sense, it's the computers and the actuators that are doing all the flight controls. And when you're pushing the control stick, it's kind of like a joystick. But I still can't fly, can I? So I'm pretty sure I was thinking about, well, I need like to be able to understand aerodynamics, flight dynamics, like how do you control the machine in the skies, like when to pitch, when to yaw, how to turn. Well, there's no way we can fly using these broken wings. Okay, so first of all, they have to fix the wings, and Ageha pointed out why it's broken. It's because it's built poorly. So they have to get the wings all ready to go before they try again.
そこの壁際の荷物をどかせてくれ。
And for the entire time, Amane couldn't find out why. He's like, well, the wings are designed to spec. I looked at every single part, every single line, and it seems to be perfect, meaning the specs. So as requested, I tidy away the boxes piled up against the wall of the garage.
うわー、なんだかよくわかんないものが山盛りだね。
Okay, so Ageha's here. So since before Amane and the others started coming here, the garage had many mysterious boxes and antique parts left inside. And, well, I'll explain it.
何これ？なんでこんなところに剣とか槍があるの？こっちにヌンチャクあるよ。
And I see a broken toy gun. Of course, the sword and the spear are well-made replicas. So I wonder why it's in the garage. Or maybe because the garage was used for a different club before the soaring club took over. Well, as for the other things, if I had brought them, I would think, wait, why the hell did I buy this? And would definitely regret buying them, and there are many things that look like souvenirs that were bought on school leaving trips. Well, I could easily tell that the members of long ago made this garage their own. Oh, okay, so like, well, it's kind of like their, I'll say, residence, or like their living place. So whenever they brought something interesting, they just kept it here.
できたわよ。
Okay, so what does Kotori have?
よし、じゃあ電気を消してくれ。
Okay, so as lights were turned off, the inside of the garage becomes pitch black. So what's gonna happen? Amane was operating some kind of machine. So I wonder what surprise Amane has to present to everyone else. So then on the wall where all the boxes were, a PC screen appears. So what is Amane trying to show on the screen?
プロジェクターだ。
Okay, We know that.
映画館みたい。
Are we going to watch an instructional video? Oh, okay, so a train video. I see.
葵くん、こっちへ来てくれ。
So sitting down in the chair that Amane had prepared, I was handed a computer game controller. Okay, so I think what Amane's trying to have Aoi do is play Microsoft Flight Simulator. Well, then again, that game is obsolete. But I do hear that Microsoft is trying to bring it back. So maybe Lockheed's Prepare 3D? So what are we doing?
だから飛ぶんだよ。これはフライトシミュレータだ。
Ah, there you go. So it is kind of like Prepare 3D. And I wonder how realistic it is. Wait. Oh, actually I hear that X-Plane is more realistic in terms of dynamics for flight simulators. I've heard of them, but I'm not exactly sure what they are. Well, I'm pretty sure when I mentioned those titles, X-Plane, Flight Simulator, Microsoft, and Prepare 3D, I'm pretty sure you guys know what it is. We can look at other videos if you're interested.
ゲームみたいなものだ。フライトを疑似体験できる。実際に飛ばなくても、操作方法やグライダーで飛ぶ感覚はある程度身につけられるはずだ。
Well, in a sense, it's a good tool to kind of have an idea about how flying works. But obviously, flight simulators are not perfect when it comes to replicating the flight dynamics that a real machine has.
よくわかんないけど、なんだかすごそうね。市販のやつですか？いや、自分で作った。
Ooh, that's even more special. So it's basically Amane's own flight simulator. So it's not commercially available like Prepare 3D, Microsoft Flight Simulator, or X-Plane.
これは風ヶ浦の地形と我々のグライダーに特化したシミュレータだからな。
And more importantly, it's adjusted and tuned to simulate the glider that they're about to fly. So as Amane's command, the screen changes. So the town of Kazakura that we all know, shown as a landscape as viewed from the air, was projected or is projected onto the wall. This is shown in pretty CG that is at least on the level of cutscenes of RPGs in the latest consoles.
やっぱすごいよこの人。
And I wonder if the computer has enough power to handle all this. Because I know that for Prepare 3D, they require really good graphics and CPU power. And even with this game PC, I'm not really sure if it can handle the level of realism that the scenery has, or like this kind of scenery has. So Ageha mumbles while looking at the screen being projected.
昨日のうちにデータは最新のものにしておいたから、よりリアルな感覚で飛べるはずだ。
Okay. I showed that I am impressed with Amane's amazing work and get myself fired up.
では始めるぞ。
Okay, so glider modeled in CG appears in the screen. Wait, so if you want to make it realistic, I think it's better if you have it viewed from the cockpit instead of seeing it from the outside.
操作を覚える前にグライダーの動きについて説明するぞ。
Oh, so like the little explanation phase.
グライダーの運動は縦軸、横軸、垂直軸、この3つの軸を回転する動きで説明できる。まずはローリング。
Okay. So on this screen, the longitudinal axis that runs along the length of the fuselage and the movement based on rotation on the axis were displayed. And it's called rolling.
次にピッチング。
this time the lateral axis coming out sideways from the fuselage, and the movement based on the rotation on this axis were shown. So basically the axis goes from one tip of the wing to the other tip of the wing. And it really depends on where your axis of rotation is. Well, I think it's usually rotated around the center of gravity. So this movement raises and lowers the nose and is known as pitching.
そして最後はヨーイング。
So going through the fuselage vertically was a vertical axis, and the movement based on rotation along the axis was displayed. So this movement, known as yawing, moves the nose left and right. And we know that that's controlled by the rudder on the vertical stabilizer.
この3つがグライダーの基本的な動きだ。わかるか？
Okay, so you have 3 basic control surfaces. Yes, I think so.
グライダーがどんなに複雑なマニューバーを描いているように見えても、実はこの3つの動作の組み合わせによるものなんだ。だからパイロットはこの3つの動きを操作するだけでいい。
I see. So, the basics are quite simple, right? Kotori and Ageha are listening to the conversation and nodding along.
じゃあそれを踏まえた上で実際に操縦してみよう。
Okay, so how about you try it? Okay, so we're now in the cockpit view. So Maya selects the mode on the PC and the screen changes again. The sky and the horizon are projected across the wall.
これはコックピットから見た映像ですか？
That's correct.
ああ、そうだ。
There you go.
へえ、こんな風に見えるんだ。
Wow, so this is what it looks like. The glider's already flying through the air, but because I'm used to video games, this feels incredibly slow. Well, then again, gliders are not powered by engines, so in a sense, it doesn't fly as fast as a jet. And more importantly, because you're high up in the air, the movement looks kind of slow. Well, it doesn't really feel like it's moving at all.
離陸と着陸、特殊な状況を除いて君が操作するものは2つ。操縦桿とラダーペダルだ。
Okay, so the yoke and the rudder pedals. So if you've seen cockpit images, especially for like a Boeing jet, you'll see that there's a control yoke in front of the pilot and the co-pilot. And on Airbus jets, they use joysticks, which performs or is used for the same purpose, but both models have rudder pedals. So I've seen the cockpit many times, so I know about that. Okay, so we see that... Okay, so I think this glider uses a joystick. And... oh, it's actually a control stick because it comes between the pilot's legs. And we also see that the simulator is pointing downwards, and you can see all the instruments. So I've seen some scenes in movies where pilots are flying fighter jets, and the yoke is the thing that they're holding on to. Well, I think for fighter jets, they actually use the joystick. So it's right next to them, and it's usually controlled by the left hand. So it has a button on it, and if you push it, it launches a missile. Of course, the glider doesn't have anything like that. Well, obviously. And it does remind me of a movie called Top Gun. And I don't really remember much about it, but I did remember that one part where they press the red button and a missile comes out and launches against the target. Well, it's like the steering wheel in a car. Well, in a sense it is. Well, then there are left and right rudder pedals, one of each, and are operated by pushing them with your feet. That's true.
それぞれコントローラーに対応している。左のアナログスティックが操縦桿、LR ボタンがラダーペダルだ。
Okay, so I think Amani's having Aoi play Flight Simulator with a regular controller, and on the controller there's like an analog stick, and there's L&R buttons. And I wonder if it looks like the controller that they used for the Nintendo 64. Well, that one has more buttons though. But it does have that control stick. So I tried the analog stick and the L&R buttons on the gamepad. So it's a little slow, but the field of vision in the center swings around. Ooh, wow.
無茶をするとストールして墜落するから気をつけろ。
Okay, so don't be too crazy on the controls. If you do too much maneuvers, if it's pitched up too much, then it may stall, and stalling is dangerous. Okay.
操縦桿だが、これはさっき説明した3つのうち2つ。ローリングとピッチングを操作できる。左右に倒せば、その方向に機体がロールする。
So move the analog stick, in other words, the yoke, slowly to the left. It's a little slow, but the aircraft responds. And at least I was now level in flight, and that's a good thing. So the horizon in the middle of the screen leans to the right.
操縦桿を倒すと、どうして機体が傾くの？
So I'm pretty sure it's the ailerons.
いい質問だ。それは操縦桿でエルロンを操作しているからだ。
There you go, the ailerons. And if you sit in a jet or passenger flight and you look out the window, sometimes you can see that the ailerons, they lift up and down depending on the path of the flight. And I know in large jets like the 767 or the 747, they have 2 sets of ailerons per wing, and the outer aileron usually gets locked up. It's the inner aileron that does the work. And it's because well, the wings are swept so much that at high speeds the outer ailerons don't really do much to help turn the airplane or like to roll the airplane.
エルロン？
It's like Kotori has a big question mark on her face as she hears the unfamiliar word.
主翼についている補助翼のことだ。
Okay?
主翼の外側の後ろについていて、操縦桿を左に倒せば、左翼のエルロンが上がり、右翼のエルロンが下がる。
So for a glider, you can see that it has straight wings. They're not really swept. And that's where they usually put the aileron. They put it at the outer portion of the wing. And I think that's the case for some of the smaller jets like the Boeing 737 and 757, and maybe the A320 as well.
そうすると、左翼の揚力は減少。逆に右翼の揚力は増大するから、機体は左にバンク。つまり、傾いて旋回をする。
There you go. So one side is lifting, the other side is descending. And that's what causes the airplane to roll. So leaning and turning, it's the same as a bicycle. Well, in a bicycle, you use your body weight to lean. And then you're steering the front to turn. So a bicycle has a handlebar, and you don't turn by moving itself left or right, so you have to turn by leaning the bike. Well, that's true. I think that's like natural tendencies, and that's true for even a car as well.
操縦桿を使ったもう一つの操作、ピッチングについてだが。
Well, for a car, even though it has four wheels, and you don't really lean, but when you turn, you can actually feel some kind of force pushing against you as you turn. And usually in roads, they actually try to curve or bank the roads a little bit, which allows cars to easily turn without losing too much speed.
ピッチングとは、要は機種を上げ下げする動きのことだ。
Okay.
操縦桿を後ろに引けば頭が上がり、前に倒せば下がる。
So try pushing the yoke forward. Oh, wow. Okay, so he pitched down. The screen moves, and the percentage of the screen filled with ground increases. So the aircraft is pointing downwards, and I feel much greater sense in the speed.
機首を下に向けると機体は下降していくが、その分速度が増す。
That's true. So that's one of the ways, or the best way to get out of a stall. Because what happens is that when you increase speed, you also increase lift on the wings. I see. I imagine by sliding down on the air. Well, this time I try pulling the nose or the yoke back. I was no longer able to see the horizon, so this time he pitched up. It felt like it was floating, and I realized the speed was dropping. So likewise, when you pitch up, your speed drops.
これはどうやって操作しているの？またさっきのエルロン？
So I'm pretty sure this will be the elevators on the horizontal stabilizers.
いや違う。以前紙飛行機で実験しただろ。機体の上下の動きを制御していたのは。
So do you remember Kotori? When Kotori was playing around with the tails of the paper airplane, she made one do a beautiful loop-de-loop. So I remember this was episode 9 of my Let's Play, where Amanda gave a pretty big explanation about the basic flight dynamics, and she had Kotori build a cardboard paper airplane. So the horizontal tailplane, but we usually call it the stabilizers. Amai nods her head as to say well done.
ピッチング、つまり上下の動きは水平尾翼についたエレベータという舵で操作する。
There you go. So we've heard of an elevator before, of course, but this was different to the type that goes up and down in buildings. So, in a sense, both accomplish the purpose of moving something up and down.
通常機種を上げれば揚力は高まる。
So I'm not really sure why they call that control surface an elevator. But obviously, if you pitch up, your airplane goes higher and higher off the ground. So in other words, the aircraft will rise.
だが、上げすぎると逆に揚力を失うことになる。
And I'm pretty sure this is
気流が翼面に沿って流れることができなくなり、剥離してしまうからだ。
So this is pretty much what stalling the aircraft is. So airflow no longer being able to move along the wings, and it breaks away. And when it breaks away, it generates all this drag.
この現象をストールという。揚力を失うとどうなるかは説明するまでもないな。
So you can't fly, there's no lift, and it'll inevitably fall. And we have heard some crashes and accidents because of stall. And the one that I can remember off the top of my head is the Air France crash in 2009. So apparently the pilots, they were pitching the airplane up way too much, and despite the stall warnings, they kept pitching it up, and it got to the point where the airplane was pretty much vertical, and that led to a stall, and it was unrecoverable, and it ended up slamming into the ocean at a really high speed. And one of the things was that it was really hard to find this jet because it was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and there isn't really much communication in this area. But I think what happened was that the pilots, they had all these alarms, and they were pretty much stuck. They didn't know what to do, and just scrambling to find solutions. And in that case, well, I don't know what else to say, so.
そうなったらもう落ちるしかないんですか？いや、立て直すことは可能だ。ストールはどんな時にも起こり得るから、ストールからの回復訓練はしっかり積んでおく必要がある。
But of course, there are ways to recover from a stall before it gets worse, like the Air France accident. So when it is suggested that falling is a possibility, I find it hard to breathe. But obviously when it happens, people can panic, pilots can panic. So when you're flying through the air, even a tiny mistake can cost your life. That's true.
試しに一度落ちてみようか。
Okay, so how about we try doing a stall recovery? Huh? So Maya pulls back hard on the analog stick, and the noise points further and further upwards, and then...
臨界無改角を超えた。ストールしたぞ。
So I wonder how they can detect that the glider has stalled. Okay, so Amaya actually shows what happens if the airplane is in a deep stall, and we see that the airplane just slams right to the ground. But then again, it's a simulator, so it just says game over and it's done.
ゲームオーバーって。とまあ、こんな感じだ。訓練ではわざとストールやスピンを起こして、そこから回復する練習をするんだ。実際に空でやると怖いぞ。死ぬかと思うぞ。
Well, if you're scared of heights, then maybe that really is true. Well, because of how well the simulator is made, I got a powerful enough impression just from the graphics. Okay, so Maya selects the mode, and once again, we start flying. Okay, so I noticed that I'm at my time limit, so I'm going to go ahead and stop here, and we'll see in the next episode how this flight simulator training continues. So usually in large commercial jets, pilots are warned when the airplane is about to stall, either because they pitched up too much and or because their airspeed is too low. And that's where you hear the stick shaker, so the control stick vibrates hard on the pilot and the co-pilot. And it also gives an audible alarm. So if the airplane does crash and the black boxes get investigated, they can actually hear what happened inside the cockpit. So before I end this episode, let's see what happens if I pick the Ageha option back at that first selection screen. So hold on for a minute. Okay, so I'm back on the selection screen in the beginning, and I'm gonna see what happens if I pick the first option, so go ahead and wait for Ageha. So... Okay, so Aoi says, said that she'd be finished soon, so I'll just wait here.
そう。じゃあ、私は先に行く。
Kotori seemed a little bit disgruntled as she said that she went off before me. Okay, so I made her mad, huh? Well, that happens all the time anyways.
お待たせ。あれ、ハバネさんは？
Okay, so Ageha's finished shortly and it's like, hey, where's Habane-san? Oh, so she went on ahead.
そう。ねえ、葵。
Yeah?
ハバネさんってさ、
So, with regards to Habane-san,
私のことどう思ってるのかな？
I don't know. I said without thinking.
やっぱ嫌われてる？
Well, I don't think that's it. She replied when you greeted her. Well, in Kotori's case, I'm pretty sure she wouldn't do that if she hated her.
でも葵とは超仲良しだよね。
I see somewhat. Really?
だってさ、葵が今一番仲いい子ってハバネさんじゃん。
Well, we live in the same dormitory, so...
涼子も飛び魚そうだけど、学校じゃほとんど話さないじゃん。
So I wonder who Ryoko is. So Ryoko is one of the boarders and is in the same grade as us, and is also Ageha's friend. But I hardly ever speak to her at school.
ほら。
See? Well, yeah, maybe you have a point, but what is this all of a sudden?
別に言ってみただけ。
Wait, are you angry about this?
かもね。
Well, is this jealousy or something?
はい？
Well, you and I are childhood friends and have been close ever since we were kids. And I think of you as one of my best friends. Well, if we're talking about when we were kids, Ageha was my very best friend. And even if there was a blank of 5 years, that shouldn't have changed. But in Ageha's eyes, recently, Kotori has been my closest friend. Well, sure, we do spend a lot of time together. Well, that must be why she is feeling jealous. Well, there is one thing that's working in favor of Kotori is that Kotori's living with Aoi. And I feel that Kotori does visit Aoi from time to time, especially knowing that Aoi has some kind of injury, and it's something that Aoi can relate to.
うぬぼれすぎ。
But anyways, it's making Ageha a little bit upset.
って言いたいところだけど、それもあるかな。葵をハバネさんに取られちゃった気分。
Well, she says miserably. Well, that's not really how I see it. I still think of you as my best friend, though. Well, I'll help you when you're in a fix, the same way you do for me. But I want you to trust me a little bit more. So Ageha looks at me like, how come we started talking about this?
何言い出すのよ、あんたは。
Well, I think she's trying to laugh it off. I don't think, but I think on the inside, Ageha's a little bit jealous that, he's closer to her than Ageha, or he's closer to Kotori.
いやー、相変わらず熱い子だね、葵は。今ので元気出た。
Well, yeah, I'm glad.
でもさ、やきもちと言われればその通りかもしれない。私 葵に焼き餅焼いてんだ。
And I wonder why. Me?
だって私のハバネさん怪獣作戦は失敗したのに、葵とはあっさり仲良くなっちゃって。私って魅力ないのかな。
Well, yeah, sometimes.
葵には人を引きつける魅力があるのよ。
Well, if I do remember, Ageha likes to be the person. So she was a tomboy in the past and liked to use all sorts of physical attacks on people, or likes to just basically give people a punch. And now that they've grown older and Ageha's more of a girly person, I think that type doesn't really suit her anymore, and it kind of ruins the charm that I was expecting of a girl.
なんつって。
What the hell?
どうすりゃハバネさんと仲良くなれるんだろう。
Ageha puts her hand on top of her head and lets out a sigh. Okay, so I'm pretty sure this is where the Kotori option will also end up. So this will mark the end of my episode 7, or 27. So looking from the Ageha side, we can see that Ageha is kind of wondering how he can connect to Kotori as well. And I think the reason why Ageha is a bit upset with Kotori is that she feels that Kotori is attracting to Aoi more than she is. And one advantage is that Kotori is living in the same place as Aoi. And I think given that Kotori's in a wheelchair, she's kind of the person that needs more attention and care versus Ageha, the previous tomboyish girl. So we'll see how the flight simulator train continues next time.